Section 1. If someone told you that the most terrifying moment of their life happened in broad daylight while hunting with their 10-year-old son, you might expect a dangerous animal, an accident, or getting lost in the wilderness. You probably wouldn't expect a stranger hiding among the trees. And you definitely wouldn't expect what was waiting behind the last tree. I've spent most of my life hunting the forests of upstate New York. Long before I was old enough to carry a rifle, my father was taking me into those woods every Saturday morning. Some of my earliest memories are of cold dawn air, damp leaves under my boots, and sitting silently beside him while waiting for deer to appear. As the years passed, hunting became more than a hobby. It became a tradition. Eventually, I had a son of my own named Peter. When Peter turned 10, I decided it was finally time to introduce him to the same world I had grown up in. I wanted him to experience the patience, discipline, and excitement that hunting had taught me throughout my life. That morning seemed perfect. The weather was calm. A light breeze drifted through the trees, carrying the scent of pine and wet earth. The woods were quiet except for the occasional chirping bird and the distant rustling of leaves. Peter was excited from the moment we arrived. I carried both our rifles as we made our way through the forest. They were Remington Model 798 rifles, and while Peter had already learned firearm safety and basic handling, I wasn't about to let him wander through the woods carrying one on his own. I had a hunting tower deeper in the forest where I usually hunted deer, but for his first trip, I wanted something simpler, something more relaxed. We eventually reached a spot where game frequently passed through. I handed Peter his rifle and settled beside him. At first, everything felt exactly the way I had hoped. Peter scanned the woods with excitement, whispering questions every few minutes. But hunting requires patience, and patience is not something most 10-year-olds enjoy. An hour passed, then another. No deer appeared, no movement, nothing. Peter began yawning, then sighing, then shifting around constantly. The excitement I'd seen earlier slowly drained from his face. Watching that happen bothered me more than I expected. Section 2. I didn't want Peter's first hunting trip to become a memory of endless boredom. So eventually I stood up and said, "Come on, let's try another area." His face immediately brightened. We packed our gear and started walking through the trees. For the first few minutes, everything felt normal. Then I heard footsteps. The sound was faint but unmistakable. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I instantly raised my arm in front of Peter. He froze. I motioned for him to raise his rifle. His eyes widened with excitement, probably convinced we had finally found a deer. But before either of us could react, I spotted something moving between the trees. A face. Someone was peeking out from behind a thick trunk roughly 50 yards away. I immediately lowered Peter's rifle. "Not a deer," I whispered. The person remained partially hidden. I raised a hand and gave a small apologetic wave. For a second, the figure simply stared. Then he slipped back behind the tree and disappeared. I remember standing there in silence. Something about him bothered me. At first I couldn't explain why. Maybe it was the way he was watching us. Maybe it was how motionless he stood. Or maybe it was his face. Even from a distance, something seemed wrong about it. Not injured, not deformed, just unsettling. The kind of face that instantly triggers a warning in the back of your mind. Peter looked up at me. "Who was that?" "I don't know." "Another hunter?" "Maybe," but I didn't believe my own answer. Most hunters make their presence known. This man hadn't, and seeing someone that deep in the woods wasn't common. As a precaution, I changed directions. We moved farther away from where I'd seen him. The forest grew quieter as we walked. No deer appeared, no other hunters, just endless trees stretching in every direction. Peter continued asking questions about the stranger. I answered honestly, "I don't know who he is. I don't think we should go near him." That seemed to satisfy him for the moment. A few minutes later, he complained that he was hungry. Honestly, I was too. So we found a small clearing and sat down to eat. For a little while, things felt normal again. The tension faded. The woods seemed peaceful. I started convincing myself that maybe I'd overreacted. Maybe the guy really was just another hunter. Maybe I'd simply caught him off guard. Then I heard footsteps again, closer this time. And when I looked up, my stomach dropped. Section 3. Standing behind another tree was the same man. Watching us. Not walking. Not hunting. Just watching. Peter noticed him too. Before I could react, he grabbed his rifle and pointed it toward the movement. I immediately pushed the barrel downward. The excitement was gone from Peter's face now. He looked uneasy. Truthfully, so was I. The stranger didn't wave, didn't speak, didn't move. He simply stared from behind the tree. The longer I looked at him, the stronger the feeling became that something wasn't right. I stood up. "Stay here," I told Peter. I began walking toward the man. Every step felt heavier than the last. Part of me wanted answers. Part of me wanted to know why he kept appearing near us. But halfway there, another thought hit me. What am I doing? My son was sitting alone behind me. If this man was dangerous, I was walking directly toward him while leaving Peter vulnerable. I immediately turned around. The decision was instant. We were leaving. I walked back to Peter and told him to gather his things. No arguments. No discussion. We were done hunting. The road wasn't far away. If we kept moving, we'd be back at the truck soon. So we started walking. Not running. Just walking. Trying to act normal. But inside, my nerves were screaming. Every sound seemed amplified. Every gust of wind made me glance over my shoulder. I kept waiting for something. A snapped twig. A shifting branch. Footsteps. Anything. The woods around us felt different now. Less like a forest. More like a place where someone could hide. Then it happened. A distinct crunch behind us. I stopped. Peter looked back. I gently nudged him forward. "Keep walking." His expression instantly changed. He knew something was wrong. As he continued ahead, I turned around. And there he was again. The same man. The same tree. The same silent stare. Something inside me finally snapped. Fear became anger. I stormed toward him. If he wanted to keep following us, I was going to find out why. The distance between us rapidly closed. 40 feet. 35. 30. Then he moved. He slipped behind the tree and vanished from view. A second later, I heard a sound. A dull thud, like something heavy hitting the ground. I slowed my pace. My rifle was already in my hands. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it. The forest had become completely silent. No birds. No wind. Nothing. Only my breathing. I approached the tree one careful step at a time. Section 4. To this day, I still remember every second of what happened next. I reached the tree. I expected the stranger to be standing there. Maybe waiting. Maybe preparing to run. Maybe finally ready to explain himself. Instead, I saw something that completely shattered my ability to think. For a moment, my brain couldn't process what I was looking at. The forest seemed to disappear around me. The sounds vanished. The trees vanished. Everything vanished. My entire focus locked onto a single object lying on the ground. A human head, face down, motionless. No body, just the head. I froze. Every survival instinct in my body erupted at once. I didn't look around. I didn't search for the stranger. I didn't investigate. I didn't even try to understand what I was seeing. The only thing I knew was that my son was nearby, and whatever had happened here was beyond anything I had imagined. I spun around and ran. The fear flooding through me felt almost physical. I reached Peter and grabbed him. "Run." That's all I said. He didn't ask questions. Something in my voice must have told him everything he needed to know. We sprinted through the woods. Branches slapped against us. Leaves crunched beneath our boots. Every few seconds I glanced behind us, expecting someone to emerge from the trees. Nobody did, but that didn't make me feel safer. In some ways, the silence was worse. We reached home within minutes. The second we got inside, I locked every door. Then I checked every window. Then I checked them again. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. I couldn't relax. Couldn't sit still. Couldn't stop replaying the scene in my head. Every creak of the house made me look outside. Every passing car made me glance through the curtains. I kept imagining that stranger standing somewhere beyond the property line. Watching. Waiting. That night, I barely slept. Instead, I remained awake for hours, keeping watch over my family. Peter eventually fell asleep. My wife noticed something was wrong, but I struggled to explain it. How do you tell someone what you've seen when you can barely believe it yourself? As darkness filled the house, one question repeated endlessly in my mind. Who was that man? And more importantly, what had happened to the rest of the body? Section 5. The following morning brought answers. But somehow, those answers only made the experience more disturbing. My wife had heard local news reports. 2 hunters had recently disappeared in the area. At first, I didn't react. Then the connection hit me. The stranger, the woods, the human head, the disappearances. Suddenly, everything felt horrifyingly real. Whatever I'd encountered wasn't some misunderstanding. It wasn't an odd encounter with a strange man. Something terrible had happened in those woods. and there was a strong possibility that what I'd seen belonged to one of the missing hunters. That realization left me feeling sick. I immediately contacted law enforcement and reported everything. Every detail, the location, the stranger, the stalking behavior, the object I had found behind the tree. The officers took the report seriously. After that, life became very different for a while. I stopped taking Peter hunting. Not for a week, not for a month, for several months. I wasn't willing to risk putting him anywhere near that situation again. The woods that had once represented family tradition now carried an entirely different memory. Whenever I thought about returning, I remembered that face peering from behind the trees, watching us, following us, remaining silent. I thought about how close Peter had been to whatever was happening out there, and that thought alone was enough to keep me away. Eventually, time passed. The fear faded enough for me to return to hunting. Peter and I slowly resumed our trips. The forests of upstate New York once again became part of our lives. But the memory never disappeared. Even now, years later, there are parts of the story I cannot explain. The biggest question is the one that continues to haunt me. Hunters are rarely defenseless. Most carry rifles, knives, or some form of protection. The two missing men almost certainly weren't unarmed. So how did one person manage to overpower them? How did he move through those woods without being caught? And why was he following us that day? Those questions have never been answered. What I do know is this: if I hadn't decided to move locations because my son was bored, if we hadn't noticed those footsteps, if I had ignored that feeling telling me something was wrong, our story might have ended very differently. Instead, we were lucky enough to make it home, lucky enough to tell the story, and lucky enough to never discover what that man had truly planned for us in those silent woods.